Hello and welcome to another step-by-step how to tie tutorial video. This is the Clouser Minnow. This is tied up on a Moonlit ML057 streamer hook. This is a 1x strong, 3x long, size 2. I am using a black Danville's 210 denier flat waxed nylon thread. I'm using a painted lead medium dumbbell eye, red. And for the body, I am using white Bucktail and Chartreuse Bucktail. And a little bit on the inside, we have a little bit of pearl H2O twist crystal flash. So let's go ahead and remove our sample, and we can secure our hook to the vise. And like all good flies, this will begin with a single wrap of thread. We're going to take our thread, we're going to start it actually a little bit behind the eye of the hook, maybe at about that 1/3 point. And here is where we will tie in our eyes. And to do so, I will hold the dumbbell by the far side of the unit. And I'm going to take a half a wrap, or maybe one wrap, around the eye, set it on top, and then I will take a couple diagonal wraps, turn my thread, and take a few more diagonal wraps in the opposite direction. Once I have that established, I can take a few wraps just around the shank of the hook in front and behind on both sides, and now I can continue with some crossing wraps or some figure 8 wraps. Make sure to get back onto the shank of the hook. And at this point, I'm just going to take a quick pause for the cause. I'm going to come in with a little bit of super glue, just a little dab of glue ya. What I'm just going to do here is that all I want to do is just basically wet the thread on top. I'm really not adding that much glue, just enough to saturate the thread. So now I can come in and do some more cross wraps, some wraps that'll go under the eyes, over the shank, under the eyes, over the shank, under the eye, over the shank. Really want to get this nice and secured. Really don't want to shy away with our thread wraps on this. Alright, once that is secured, we can come in with our white bucktail. We'll just go ahead and trim off a small piece. I like to go maybe a bar straw's diameter, maybe a coffee straw. Sparse is what we're looking for here. Trim off our piece. We want to clean this out. We always want to clean out our hair as good as we can. I recommend using a small brush, perhaps an eyebrow brush. Really get that cleaned out. Alright, once our hair is trimmed, static, we can take our hair and load it into our hair stacker, tips down. I like to kind of tornado it in, and we'll give this a quick stack. We don't want to line up these fibers exact, we just want to do a more or less stack job there. Okay, so we're going to measure that out. That's 1 hook's length. Take that to the rear, and that's going to be our tie-in point up front. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take 1, 2, 3 loose wraps, go behind the bead eyes, the dumbbell eyes, and I'm going to come down and I'm going to secure the hair nice and tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wraps or so. Alright, now pulling the hair up and towards the rear, I'm going to do an open spiral. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turns or so. Couple locking wraps at the rear. Now I'm going to do that same wrap forward. And there we have it. So we have this nice little crisscross awesome sauce lattice wrap working on the back side of the hook. Alright, so at this point we're not going to want to wrap our thread over those dumbbell eyes anymore. So we're going to make sure we come underneath. I'll lift that hair up. Get a bite on the shank of the hook. Maybe another wrap down. Here we go. Now we're going to trim this off at an angle. Just like so. And you want to keep your longest hair just behind the eye of the hook. And that's going to help us with a nice even taper. Make sure we clean off all of our strays. Now we can come in and we just want to build a rough cone head up front. We still have plenty more material to tie in, so we're not going to be too concerned about covering absolutely everything. At this point, we can take our fly, flip it upside down. If you have a rotary vise, you know what to do. Next, we're going to take our crystal flash. I have just a few strands here. And I want these to line up about the same length as my tail. So I can just tie this in about halfway. Couple locking wraps. Nice and easy. Fold that back. Excellent. Take that on either side of the shank of the hook. Alright, now we can come in with our Chartreuse bucktail. Chartreuse is one of the most popular colors for the Clouser Minnow. And it is one of my personal favorites. I typically will throw a Chartreuse and white Clouser Minnow every time I go out fishing for bass. It's just something that I do. Alright, once again, a little sparse piece of bucktail. We'll clean that out nice and good with our brush. And once again, we're going to align these tips just a little bit in our hair stacker. Tips down. We'll give that a couple knocks. Alright, and now with my Chartreuse, this is actually going to be the top of the fly, because this is how the fly will ride. I want to take that just a little bit past the white bucktail, which is the bottom. Set this on the top. We'll come in and take a couple securing wraps. Make sure that's nice and even. Evenly distributed on both sides on that top side of that hook. Alright, once that's secured, again we're going to come in at an angle cut. And this will help us with our tapered cone on the front end here. Bind this all down. Give ourselves a nice clean Clouser cone head front end. I like it. If you keep your material relatively sparse throughout the operation, and you keep your cuts nice and clean and concise up front, and at a tapered angle, the results will be a nice clean cone head. 1, 2, 3 turns on the whip finish tool. And trim off our tying thread. Alright, at this point, I can just go ahead and take the fly, put it in the hook back into its traditional position. I'll clean that up. Looks like we have one stray. Alright. Finish things off, we're going to just take some clear fingernail polish. And something that I like to do is trim my brush down so it's not a full-size brush. Really get that head saturated all the way around. And what I'll do is I'll just take a little bit of the head cement and put it in between the eyes on that white bucktail, because this will ride hook side up. This portion right here is what will be dredging the bottom. So there you have it, folks. That is a Chartreuse and white Bucktail Clouser Minnow tied on a size 2 Moonlit ML057. I like it. Perfect. Thank you for watching, everybody. Happy tying and tight lines.